Suppose you're running a factory. A complex factory with all kind of machinery and IT installations that all have to work together. How do you do that? I think it's quite a complex job. And what if you want to run a sustainable energy factory or an intelligent factory, a smart factory? How can you do that? Can you use SAP technology to facilitate yourself in running this factory in a sustainable and intelligent way? Atos found a way to do so. Atos found even a way to close the loop within the whole factory, using SAP Business Technology Platform to do so. Today in HANA Café we're going to talk to Atos about this smart intelligence factory and closing the loop. Welcome to HANA Café, the Netherlands.
HANA Café Nederland is een podcast met nieuws vanuit de SAP-wereld. In het café spreken de gasten en stamgasten over ontwikkelingen, innovaties, events of praten ze gewoon weer eventjes bij. Laten we snel naar binnen gaan.
Okay, maybe it's good to start with the introduction, and I always forget Jan. So today I will start. Jan, welcome, stamgast in our HANA Café. To not forget you.
Thank you. My name is Jan. I'm stamgast.
Yes. I'm Twan. I'm also stamgast. Okay, but our guest from Atos. Maybe Nitin, can you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Nitin. I'm one of the BTP experts within Atos. As Atos, we do heavily invest in BTP technologies. And together with the team all over the globe, we are working hard on the new and exciting technologies that are all based on the BTP platform.
Okay, thank you. Willem.
Thank you for inviting us in this very nice setting. Let I put it like this. My name is Willem Dekkers. I'm the SAP Global Offering Manager for Smart Factory at Atos. And I help customers in defining the roadmap to the intelligent enterprise.
The intelligent enterprise, as I just talked about. I think that's an interesting roadmap. You are also an expert, Willem, in this factory process automation. Maybe you can explain a little bit what all comes into place to run a smart factory.
Now, what comes into to place is that it is very important that you have a couple of combined things. Like you have people in a factory, of course. You have processes in a factory. You also have a sort of organizational structure in a factory. You have IT and data in a factory, and they all should work together. And most of the times that is the most complex part, because they are all isolated and they are in a certain level of maturity. And most of the times what you need to do is to bring those 5 components every time step by step to a higher level, and then you get a sort of intelligent enterprise. So the first step is to connect smart devices in your factory. After that you get smart factories. After that you get connected factories. And after that you get the intelligent enterprise. And that is what we want.
Yeah, and your customers probably as well.
Yes.
Agreed.
Yeah, so in the old days, I think we were used to create files and then give it to the next system, and create another file, and that's not smart, right?
No, that's not smart. You can also define it a little bit like this. A smart intelligent factory has the ability to learn. That is one of the components which is very important. The second one is that you anticipate on problems. And the last one is that you learn from the ability that you have certain knowledge, and that knowledge you are using in the direction of new situations. And that is also an important component. So actually there are 3 very important things, and that is what we try to do with helping people in going to the intelligent enterprise.
Yeah. And who are you aiming for? Who are the people that you want to help?
We mainly focus on manufacturing customers in the process industry and also in the discrete manufacturing.
Yeah, but also then within a specific factory, is it the people that are running on the floor and making sure that all the machines are running, or is it more on a decision level, or is it on all levels?
It is on all levels. It is from sensor to ERP.
Okay, so that's a wide range of different personas that come into place.
Yeah.
Okay. And what are the building components? Is it like a Lego factory that you have all kind of building components, or do you build a lot of yourself? What are the building blocks that you use?
Now, what we are using is we are using ERP, an ERP system, which is the most important component.
Which is SAP, hopefully.
Yes, and most of the times it will be SAP.
Yeah. Most of the times, okay.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
all of the
I
time.
like that important.
Yeah.
Okay.
Most important.
Next one is of course that you want to enable to connect to the shop floor, and that enabling to connect to the shop floor you do with a so-called MES system.
Yeah.
And SAP had in former times all kinds of flavors. They have MII, MA, they have SAP PEO, which is also one of your MES components, but you nowadays have SAP
process
DMC.
integration.
Yes.
Yeah.
And after that you are connecting to the plant floor.
Yeah. So once a lot of abbreviations in the past 30 seconds. First, the shop. What is the shop floor?
The shop floor is actually, you easily can visualize those type of things. Is you have a car manufacturing plant, and in the car manufacturing plant you see the people who are putting the doors on the chassis, putting the tires on. That is the shop floor.
Okay.
And most of a lot of times is you have different type of shop floors. You have a shop floor for in the electronic industry, where people are making all kinds of components together, putting components together to make a television or a radio. You have factories like beer breweries, and that is the process industry. Over there you have people on the production floor which are doing all kinds of quality inspections in all the vessels. You have the pharmaceutical industry, and in the pharmaceutical industry you have all kinds of regulations to do certain type of activities in a validated approach.
Yeah.
Now that's another shop floor.
Yeah. Okay.
But, you know, you
Where the stuff happens.
You mentioned you have the most important system, the ERP system. I like that.
Always.
I said that. But then the production process in ERP stops with the production order, really. So you also mentioned MES system.
Yeah.
So probably that's the one that's connected to all the machinery, right?
What's MES?
Exactly. That's my question.
Yeah. Sorry. An MES system is in fact a system which enabled connection from ERP to the shop floor. And the shop floor you have more detailed process computers, but you should not think too much about it. It is primarily, you have an ERP package, underneath you have an MES package, and that is most of the times is steering production lines, and it is getting information, monitoring information, how things are going on the production floor. So coming back to your point, you create a production order in SAP, you send the information to an MES system, and the MES system collects all the data from the process computers, sensors, can also be laboratory systems, etc., etc.
It's an integration layer.
So it's the linking pin basically between the production environment, between the machinery that you have there, and your ERP system, and that's part of MII or ME, correct?
Yeah.
What's MII, ME?
Well, that's the abbreviations that I heard.
Okay.
So I'm trying to learn.
Yeah.
You're faster than I am.
Yeah. The situation is to talking about your expertise. You have a production order. You send that to MII.
Mm-hmm.
That was a sort of enterprise application integrator. Yeah, in connecting systems, and then you send it to an MES system.
Right. So the MES system is not part of the MII system, so to say. So there's even two.
In the case, your former, it is very easy. In former times, you had MII, MA.
Mm-hmm.
That was your system till for the last 10 years. Nowadays, you have SAP DMC. And you don't need anymore an MII component in between, because the production flows are done automatically in the system itself, because it is in the cloud connector, everything is running.
And DMC stands for the Disco Mix Club.
Yes.
That's really old school.
You know
Very,
that, yeah.
very maat.
Ben Liebrand. Sorry for that.
Oh, sorry.
Small escape. What DMC stands for?
Digital Manufacturing Cloud.
That's different.
Yeah,
Different cookie.
that's quite different. But the fun thing, there's a little bird that's been whispering my eye in my
What?
ear that MII and ME are not going to be under maintenance from 2027 anymore.
Yeah, that's correct.
Is that the reason that you and also manufacturing companies are moving to DMC?
That is the reason, because MII MA is built in the time period what you know about NetWeaver. And now you get more, and it is only for the discrete manufacturing. And what makes your package DMC quite unique is that it has two flavors. You have one flavor of the process industry, and also you can work in the discrete manufacturing. That's quite unique, because normally MES systems are on-premise. Why are they on-premise? Because it is intellectual property. In there, most of the times the recipe are included. So you don't want to have those type of things in the cloud. But that was what people were thinking about. I think if you made the right move in developing a product like SAP DMC, because SAP DMC is not only a cloud product. So the maintenance will be less. You get all kinds of new functionality immediately on the spot every 3 or 4 months, depending on the roadmap. And the nicest situation about it is you can combine those two types of industry. So when you have a production process in a beer brewery, you send a process order to SAP DMC, but you can also send for the packaging part a discrete order. And DMC has the possibility to cope with both things. And normally all the other MES packages, you have to install an on-premise version for the process industry, and you have to install an on-premise version for the discrete manufacturing. So in fact, you need 2 machines to handle the production. And that is the what I found the unique selling point of SAP DMC.
Yeah, and machines are quite old school, of course.
Yeah.
And now we're moving into the cloud, so we're not talking about machines anymore, and it just lives there in the cloud, right?
Yeah.
And the fun fact about DMC is that I heard that it was built on the business technology platform.
Yeah,
That's true. That's true. It runs on.
Can you turn the mic a little bit to you?
Yes. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
like this.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. And now I can hear myself much clearer.
That's the reason.
Yeah. So no, indeed. So it currently runs on the business technology platform. It has all the advantage of the business technology platform, including connectivity. Even when we have multiple things running from the factory, where we want to use, for example, edge technology to give feedback back to the DMC system. That's all possible nowadays with BTP.
Yeah, and the nice thing is, of course, like what you mentioned, the DMC is implementing the vision of SAP with regards to multiple, to turn it into a generic way of basically managing the processes in the factory. It seems that Atos has its own vision on running processes in the factory, given the closed loop. What is it that you've built on the BTP that is basically extending the DMC?
So one of the demos that we have, it's already visible and working in the experience center here in the bus, where we have made our truck, where we can actually see if there's something wrong for maintenance purpose. So we can do a check on if everything is there, using machine learning to recognize if all the components are there. Nothing is wrong.
You have visual inspection, right?
Visual inspection, indeed.
Yeah.
And next to that, we also have another demo that we have built where we actually use IT Cockpit to actually get data from the IT Edge service and run it back to the DMC. So when you have, for example, a crane, and we put a weight sensor in there where we can actually see and measure how much weight is being pulled. Due to insurance reasons, every maximum amount of that can be lift up by using the hook is, for example, maybe 500 kilos or maybe 1,000 kilos or whatever. We can measure it out and know, okay, we have used it already 6-7 times on the maximum capacity. Mm-hmm. We need to make a new maintenance order to change the hook, for example.
Okay, so you get insight, and based on the insight, you can make sure that you repair, or not repair, but that you replace something before something breaks.
Correctly, and so you can plan advance before the actual thing breaks, or and you know also when you have some lighter use there that you don't have to replace it every few.
Is it like predictive maintenance? Is it something that you also use?
From the predictive maintenance, and then I believe we use intelligent asset management for this.
Yeah, we are using, first we have the IoT sensor. The IoT sensor sends information to the IoT cockpit. After that, you go into predictive analytics inside, product from IAM. After that, you are going to the part about risk management. That is the ASPM part. And then after that, you send a production of a planned maintenance order to planned maintenance. And then the cycle is going on further.
Yeah,
this all sounds like
just a little bit in between. So what we should have done we had to send out some bingo cards with all those abbreviations, and then see who has bingo for the first. No worries. But it's a lot of abbreviations. But you use a lot of SAP components, which is of course that is good.
Yeah,
only SAP
I also see that we have quite a lot of people watching online right now. So if you have any question what the abbreviation means, please type it into the chat, and I will ask Willem what the abbreviation is if we forgot to ask that question ourselves. But you had a question, Jan.
Yeah, because I heard a lot of SAP components, right?
Yeah.
That you mentioned, and you kind of nicely and smartly put all that components together to make that factory run.
Yeah.
So what's the secret sauce that Atos has added to this solution?
It is primarily the combination of working of IoT, BTP. Mm-hmm. And also the knowledge from the plant for how certain processes should work. And I think the most important part is also about the following thing. We spoke about a plant, but the plant is not only the MES system. The plant is also, there are people working in the laboratory. So you have a system who takes care about all the samples which are taking from the MES system or from the production floor. We are also talking about plant maintenance. Yes, so people are doing maintenance. When do they have to do maintenance? And sorry to say, but you have all the components. So from an IoT perspective, you can signal when a machine is breaking down in the next couple of weeks, based on predictive analytics type and machine learning tools what SAP has. You can make a certain prediction. At that time period I have to plan my machinery to go down. You can combine all the things in making sure that the processes or the production is skipped to another part, and that is the nicest part about it.
So is that also what you call then the closed loop?
Yeah, closed loop is in fact a self-healing concept. We have a crane. The crane detects that it has a problem with a sensor, and it detects that it has a problem within 2 or 3 weeks. Based on that, based on the analytics, based on what people are seeing of the signals which you are getting from IoT, people are making already a prediction. We have to make sure that the right components is replaced. And the nicest situation is you can do that also with a machine. A machine is breaking down. You have an idea based on predictive analytics. It breaks down within a couple of weeks. And you want to fix the machine as quickly as possible. Yeah. But also, and that is the nicest tool from you, also learn from it. Yeah. That is also important. It's not only to repair it, but also learn from it.
It's a self-learning factory. Yeah. So I think that every customer that runs a factory wants to do something like this. Yeah, a smart factory.
Absolutely.
But also then you bring in the component that SAP has available. There is BTP involved. Is there also custom-made solutions that you have built, Nitin?
So yes, we do some. We have built some custom solutions. One of them is for example we have built an application with visual inspection. So when you are going to do this visual inspection, and one of the important things that was missing is that we need to have some kind of tool that not only to inspect it but also put in an order. If in case we don't have the spare part available, it needs to be ordered directly from whatever vendor you have for that particular tool, or and then also in case you have it, then you need to have some kind of planning order to make the change to the machine itself.
So it's almost a hands-free enterprise, because if the machine is learning itself, is the process learning from itself, then you can order a material because it's not on stock by itself. So it's a hands-free enterprise.
Correct.
Sounds like the thing after the intelligent enterprise, right? So next level.
Next level.
Next level.
Yeah. As long as it's not a hands-free, because that's not good. Hands-free. Yeah. Yeah. Very interesting. You also mentioned about IoT. IoT is an important topic because you have all the kind of sensors in the machines, maybe also on the production line. You're using the IoT cockpit.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Jan.
Yes.
There's something about the IoT cockpit. Right?
What was wrong with the IoT cockpit, Jan?
Kind of end of life.
It's getting decommissioned. So internally we have struggled because we have tried to sell the IT cockpit tools to our customers. One of the major struggles that we had also with selling it is that it sometimes didn't fit with the customer. So a customer wants, for example, to do some kind of quality check using IT data. And so, for example, you get the product order, you're getting the sensor data, and it needs to be all coming in one single database. So for that to function in for example the IT cockpit, then we need to have SAP Analytic Cloud to actually make a view. So for that it was for us not really feasible. So we use a HANA database to collect all the data and then read it out. For our customer perspective, we have a different route. We work together with our IoT practice within Atos. And they do have their own tools and techniques. Next to that, there's every customer has also their own preferred hyperscaler. So depending also on what they prefer, we also go with them and use the tools from that particular hyperscaler. And then because it's all on BTP and we can make it run within the Cloud Foundry environment, we can all make it work together.
So I think IT is quite important, but what is then the strategy if we're going to decommission our IoT solution, Jan? What's coming in place? How can we then still do IoT with SAP?
Yeah, so it's a fair question, I think. I think Twan. I think there's two potential options, and that's to look at the IoT services that are delivered through hyperscalers. But like what Nitin mentioned, he said that especially the powerful part is the multi-cloud environment, that you can run your service on multiple cloud environments, whether it's Amazon or Google or Azure in that sense. It's all the same, and they can roll out their ideas on all those cloud environments based on what the customer wants. So if customer has Azure, they can run it on Azure. If customer has AWS, they can run it on AWS. So you can try to get one of the IoT environments that those hyperscalers offer, but then you lock yourself into one of those hyperscalers. Unfortunately, the IoT solution that SAP offers is not available on the BTP anymore. So we have to look at alternatives. I think what...
but there's no recommended alternative.
Kind of. Getting there. It's a long story.
Yeah, very long story. It's almost time.
Okay, so the good news is that we do still have a possibility to transport all those IoT type of protocols like AMQP and MQTT and that sort of things, except that we don't run it in an IoT service anymore. Instead, what we could look at is, for instance, to run Event Mesh. We have two editions of that. We have the simple event mesh basically hosted by SAP on hyperscalers along with the BTP, and we can even run something that we call advanced event mesh, and that's even running on places where the BTP might not even be running. And that's interesting because it at least allows you to transport all those internet the IoT protocols from, for instance, those devices into like a big HANA database that you mentioned, or maybe even your DMC or whatsoever. So that's a possibility to do. Except if you run event mesh, it doesn't have the device management capabilities that IoT has. So that's something that you probably need to look into then.
And that's what you say. We have our own IoT practice, and they have their own tools. Is it really their own custom-built tools, or are you also looking into these hyperscaler services that are available?
So within the IT practice, they have their own tools. We have, as you might know, we have the Bulls Edge server. There's an edge server that we also sell as Atos to our customers, and we do have our own IoT tools that we have all built around it. But for our practice within Atos itself, we are now looking into event mesh as well, and we are trying to investigate how we can make it all work together.
But you can ask Jan because he knows.
And Twan, because he works with SAP as well.
Oh yeah, then I have to find some other friends as well, I guess. Maybe Dekkers is coming up. Maybe I can follow the event mesh. I think there are some sessions planned on that one. Okay.
It's going to be a big thing, by the way. Yeah. So if you're interested in things like IoT, if you're looking at this transport mechanism of IoT data, then it's probably worthwhile to look at the event mesh on TechHead as well. Yeah. Absolutely.
November 15 and 16.
There you go.
I had to do the jingle. Now, I want to have one step back because there is a question from the audience, and let me read it for you. Could you again name the benefits of the SAP DMC, the Digital Manufacturing Cloud? You have talked about parallel processes. What are the benefits of DMC using parallel processes?
I think the biggest advantage is when you have in an organization or in a plant different processes. For example, a discrete process and a batch process. Then at least this MES system can handle those type of things. So you can send process orders for the mixing part, and you can send production orders for the packaging part. Those are opportunities. Most of the times you also have certain industry sectors which have different plants, and one plant is handling or is working with process industry, and the other one is working with discrete manufacturing. The nicest story about with SAP DMC, it can handle both.
Yeah, but if I look at a factory, I think it's only running processes in parallel because you have multiple machinery, you have multiple conveyor belts, and everything should run at the same time. So you have always running multiple parallel running processes. So if your integration layer cannot handle parallel running processes, it's not a good integration layer.
Now, a lot of MES systems have the two flavors, but you need two boxes.
Yeah.
And and what you need to do is you need to send the production order to box 1 and the process order to box 2.
Yeah.
And with SAP DMC you don't have those situations. And I think the most important part is also that you are quickly to adapt to all kinds of situations. And what I always say is when the outside world is quicker than your inside world accordingly to changes, I think you have an issue.
Yeah. Okay. And then hopefully the question from our the user is called business software, so that's difficult to address you personally. But hopefully your answer is how your question is answered. If you have any more questions, please type them into the chat, and I will address them to Nitin and Willem. Intelligent factory. I think you told a lot about it. Is it something that is a concept, or are you actually implementing it, or did you already implement this, your closed loop concept for a customer?
Oh,
yeah, you do it.
we have at the moment, I think, 4 or 5 real opportunities where we are looking at that people are interested in our concept of the self-healing company.
Yeah. Okay, so it's not in place yet, but you are working on.
Yeah, the nicest situation is what I always say. Yeah, you have a lot of innovators in companies. You both, I always see you also as innovators. But innovators, you also have two flavors about it. One is that people are still going back to the old days because it is working IoT with the cockpit and it should work like this. Then you have a situation from Jan. I came up with SAP MES, and that is a possibility. Not MAS, but MASH. Yes. And yeah, what then is important that you have to look at those type of possibilities.
Now, there's a lot of business transformation going on. Turning into an intelligent enterprise is something that we try to explain for the past 2-3 years or something. How is it in a factory? For a normal process, I can understand that you maybe can start the business transformation faster. But if you have a process, a 24-hour running process in a factory, I guess it's really difficult to do a transformation on such kind of a process. How do you change your production process? And how do you innovate in your production process? How do you do that?
I think it always starts with the current situation. The current situation is that you have a product marketing mix, what you are selling, and also you have a strategy where you want to be in the next couple of years. And based on those two components, you are going to balance what do we need to do from an IoT and data perspective, and also from how should we make better processes, look at the people, because I've been in situations where people want to have a proof of concept around the intelligent enterprise. But yeah, when the people are not aware about what a sensor is or what type of information you could get from those type of things, then you first also need to educate them in that whole process. It is not easy. People who are thinking about the intelligent enterprise, you do that within a couple of years. That's not the case. It is a process of looking in a plant, looking at building first an infrastructure, making sure that all the sensors are connected to each other, then go to the next phase, make smart machines, then make a smart factory, and then connect factories with each other. It is a complete process, and balancing those 5 components.
The more I think, but the more I listen to you, the more I also have the feeling that it's not only a technology play,
yes,
but that is also a change management play where
correct.
People need to have this mind shift of, for what I know about factories is that a lot of people also really appreciate the fact that their management systems are running from under their desks, right? They can touch it, they can feel it, they can see it run. And you already mentioned that the shift to the cloud is an important one, but also comes with challenges in terms of mindset. Mindset in terms of, losing control maybe, or losing intellectual property. I can, when you were mentioning things like the recipe, I can imagine like if Coca-Cola, for instance, would do such a thing and the recipe would be out there, it would be a completely different company, I suppose. Also, I can also imagine that we're talking about a country here in Holland where we have quite a good internet connectivity. But if you look at a lot of production plants, they're not in Holland anymore. They used to be maybe, but they're moving to China, to the Philippines, to Bangladesh, and they probably don't have the internet connectivity or the reliability of the internet connectivity that we have. So I can imagine the challenges there. How do you cope with these in terms of these newer concepts of cloud and DMC and Internet of Things and etc.?
You have to look from a business continuity perspective. So you see that with the current pandemic, what has happened, people have certain processes in place, but when they have a broken process, they really don't know how to handle. And that is, I think, also an important concept, business continuity. Look at when certain things are going wrong, try to have an adaptive process in place to handle with those things. That is an intelligent enterprise.
Right, and is that supported by IT systems as well, or is it something that you need to have on paper for in case anything fails in that chain?
That can be the case. I worked for the company what you mentioned before. And at one time we had a dedicated system from for example, the States, an ERP system in sending all kinds of information to MAS plants. And then you make sure that you have all kinds of business continuity things in place with mobile things to send it over the mobile production orders. And that is important. When certain things are broken down, you try to adapt in such a way that you can handle those type of things. And that is also the reason for putting that close the loop into the picture. Close the loop has purely to do with we have innovators and we have people who are always against innovation. And we also have people who like to pick up certain ideas in manufacturing plants. And what we like to offer them is close the loop, so then they can see actually how things are working and can take that with this product and take that in their own organization and try to come up with a sort of proof of concept or so. And those are the ideas behind it. So we have business cases which are quite unique and innovative. And the whole idea about it is, customer, you are an innovator inside company A, B and C. You are skeptical maybe if it will work, or you want to see it to work. Now here is an example. And that is what we like to do together with SAP.
Yeah, okay. I have a follow-up question, and now I also know the name. It is Holger. Holger, thanks for your question. Do I need still an MES, or can this be covered by the DMC? Do I still need an MES, or can this all be covered by the DMC? Holger asks.
SAP DMC is an MES system, so it depends on the process what he wants to automate. And then based on the process what he needs to automate, you need an MES system or not. What I always want to say, in some of the companies, maybe a pencil and paper is still the ideal way of going forward. Yeah. But when you want to be flexible, and the remark what I made is, when the changes outside the companies are going quicker than your IT strategy in being more flexible, I think then you have an issue. So then you have to start thinking about those things.
Yeah, you mean that your competition will outrun you?
Yeah.
That's always, I think it's also in the best consultancy answer is in place here as well. It depends.
Oh my God.
But there is, of course, there are building components as you described, and I think in general the architecture is clear, but still you have to look into where you are situated. Do you have a reliable connection to the internet? And do you have a modern factory? And that all needs to be tuned into personalized architecture.
Yeah.
Okay. So, closing up, what is the best tip that you can give to people running a factory, want to create an intelligent factory, maybe a sustainable intelligent factory, and close the loop?
I think what they should first do is start with a small proof of concept. That is actually to get familiar with it, to get people aligned with it, to get with certain stakeholders inside the company to get a buy-in. And that is, I think, the first step.
Yeah, and the proof of concept can be, this is what IoT can do, this is what you can do with information from a sensor, or this is what your in visual inspection app can do for you, something like that.
Yeah, but can also be a specific case, and that is most of the times the nicest bit, a complex case of a certain machinery, they have certain issues with it. Can it be a combination of an MES part and IoT sensors to predict certain things? Now, those are important things, but start small. Start
small. Yeah. Okay, Nitin, any golden tip that you can share with us?
No, the main case that we always sell also to our customers is to start small indeed.
But you have to say use BTP.
But yeah,
use BTP.
Use BTP.
That's a very, very good tip. Thank you, Nitin, for sharing that one. Start small and use BTP. Yeah.
Yeah, true. No, it's nice to see that we built DMC on top of BTP, of course. So we see that as a foundation of this type of technology as well. It looks like Atos is embracing the BTP as well to extend that and to turn it into a closed loop production environment. So BTP being the fundament, like what we use in our delivery of the intelligent enterprise, but also a very exciting technology to build these type of what are you doing, Twan? To build these kind of closed loop production scenarios, I think it's really cool to see that not only SAP sees it as a foundation of the intelligent enterprise, but also partners are embracing it, and even with that, our customers come to embrace it.
Yeah.
Okay. Any final remarks that you want to share? I forgot to ask you a question that you really wanted to share with the audience?
Thank you very much for the invite.
Okay. No worries. No, thank you very much. Maybe then also to close off is we have TechEd coming up. We already mentioned it. And I think we have a special event planned for that. We have a SAP TechEd keynote watch party here at the office in the Netherlands in our experience center, where we invite you to join us here online to do a pre-discussion on the expectations on the keynote. And also, of course, after the keynote has been given, we are going to discuss with each other, hey, what is your opinion about that? What is the evaluation?
Yeah, the nice thing is also that we have product managers coming from Waldorf to our SAP office in Den Bosch, so we can even ask questions of things that we learned throughout the keynote.
Yeah, I'm now thinking how I should say this in English, but I don't know. So how can we translate? We can ask them het hemd van het lijf.
We stripped them naked.
Okay, that's an interesting translation.
It's Friday afternoon, so.
Then it's allowed. Okay, that's an interesting event coming up, and you're all invited to join us here in the SAP Experience Center. Thank you very much, Nitin.
Thank you, Twan.
Thank you, Willem.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jan.
Thank you, Twan.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you all for watching live. It's quite an audience and asking you questions to this. If you have any questions left, please address them on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on email, or whatever platform, or paper and pen, and send us in the questions. And hopefully we can answer them as well.
No pigeons, please.
No pigeon. Yeah, it would be interesting. Yeah. So have a really nice weekend for the people that are watching now live. If you have listened to the podcast afterwards, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching and see you the next time.
Dankjewel voor het luisteren naar deze aflevering van HANA Café Nederland. Heb je feedback voor ons? Laat het dan zeker weten. Wil je ook een keer aanschuiven in het café? Stuur ons een berichtje en geef gelijk aan waar je het over wilt hebben. Tot de volgende keer!